We got quite a few coaches, head coaches, OCs, defensive coordinators to kind of talk about, man. Just go down the list here real quick. So I'm gonna start in Dallas with the Cowboys. Um, the Dallas Cowboys, poached one of our guys in Philly, our defensive backs coach, who's really instrumental with Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell and the defensive backs. I mean, he's legit. This dude easily could have been, and I think he was. I think he would have been in line really if Fangio would have stepped down, and he would have been in line for DC. I was going to give him the thumbs up to be DC in Philadelphia. Really, a young guy, 34, but he's Christian Parker, uh, solid. So Dallas, they got a steal with that. Christian Parker heading over to the Cowboys. I really don't like that because now you know he knows obviously scheme of the Eagles. However, I feel bad for him, going to Dallas because ain't nothing gonna happen over there for him. I mean, it's just ain't. Hey, this Dallas, it's just not gonna happen. So, anyway, I don't know if y'all had any takes on that for the Cowboys.
I could tell you, being in Dallas, the Dallas folks are happy. Dallas media
Yeah,
is happy because
yeah,
one, he seems competent. He's young. He's bright. He
yeah,
seems to be not a player's coach, but someone who will actually work with the players and like teach them the way they learn
hmm
to maximize their what they do on the field. This is also not a typical Dallas Cowboys hire. I think this is a Schottenheimer hire because Dallas typically hires old head coaches, retreads at DC, Chris
hmm
Nolan, Dan Quinn, Eberflus, Mike
Zimmerman.
Zimmer,
Yeah,
and
Zimmer
usually they
started.
have
hmm
relationships with the Cowboys. They've been Cowboys coaches before in some other capacity. So this is not a typical Dallas hire, which is why folks are happy. They're bucking the trend. Now the
yeah,
question is,
yeah,
will Dallas get him talent to coach up on the defense? The defense is going to be solid,
yeah,
but will it be exceptional?
yeah,
He needs weapons on defense to make his defense work. But it's a good hire. It seems to be a good hire.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. For everything that Doc said, he seems to be a competent guy. Always good to get some young blood right into the coaching room, and someone who has shown a high level of competency, which he has with the Eagles. But Links, I feel where you're coming from, and I totally agree. I hate when you lose a coach to another team in your division, even a
Yeah.
player, when you lose a player to another team in
Yes.
your division, right? Because
Yeah.
they know you so well, and you know they're sharing information based off of their time with you, so
hmm
you know that's what's going to happen. I think the only good thing, a positive thing for you guys is if you're, and we're going to get to it, you guys just hired a new offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
If, and this is a big if Nick lets this guy actually implement his own scheme and don't touch it, right? Then Parker won't have anything to really
True.
delve into, right?
Yeah.
So that could be the case. But knowing Nick is gonna have his hands and his fingerprints all over that playbook, and you know it may be more of the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even want to talk about that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that just brings up the. We might as well just roll into that with the Eagles. Just hiring today. Offensive coordinator Sean Mannion,
Sean Mannion.
quarterbacks coach from the Green Bay Packers.
Mm-hmm.
Really just finished playing in 2023, and been coaching for 2 years. Has not been a play caller. Uh, and but hey, look, he was coaching up Malik Willis. Malik Willis looked pretty good. I mean, he looked pretty solid. He was a project coming out of college, and he looked like he could go start for somebody right now, based on what we saw, somewhere down there. He looked like he could be a solid. So I don't know. I'm holding my breath here. I really don't know what to expect with this. We got another play caller that does not call plays. I look, and Howie, we trust, man. That's all. That's really all I could say. Howie is a smart guy. These guys are smarter than I am. They know they did the interviews. They know what they're looking for. So hopefully they saw something. He said something. He has something that's going to be different. I don't know. But they decided to zero in on him and for the position, and they got him. So we'll see what he has a stack on the offensive side. I did hear also Jeff Stoutland, who is our offensive line coach. He used to be the running game coordinator as well. I think that's been stripped from him as well, because what I'm hearing is they want what Mannion's going to implement. They want his whole scheme to be implemented, or whatever he's going to bring. They want that to be implemented. Before it was kind of disjointed. You had a coach here doing the run game, then you had somebody else pass game, then you had this, and it was kind of not a whole. It was just, and that's how it looked. It looked like that. It looked like there was no continuity to it. So hopefully, Mannion could bring some sort of continuity to the offense and just bring something different. But we'll see.
So, I got a question. Before you go, Doc, I have a question. So, Links, you said something. You said, "And how will you trust?" Right? Is this a Howie hire or a Nick hire?
This is a Howie hire, man. This is a Howie hire. Nick. I don't think Nick had. I don't think. Look, from a lot would be surprised if this is a Nick hire. The reason why is because they didn't want Nick to be anywhere near this. Nick was in the room. Nick probably asked a couple questions. Probably went over his head when he started talking about the offense. But you know, I think Howie brought this. I think Howie and Lurie kind of really spearheaded this, and they just rolling the dice with this. I think they were kind of impressed with what he did on the interview and what he said, because we hired we interviewed a boatload of people. I mean, we hired a lot of people, and for them to narrow it down to him to be the one who they hire, then they had to hear something different. They had to have been impressed with something that he was saying or what he want to implement.
Just realize that that position is not the most coveted position in football. Right?
There you go.
You have weapons. One is volatile, and your head coach is iffy at best. So
Well, yeah, you're putting it
if
nicely.
metal, right? So I don't know how much of this is like hey, Nick, let the kid do what he needs to do. You'll get credit for it. Just let him do what you need to do. And I don't know how much of this is in case it don't work out with Nick, we got a young uprising guy. We could tab as a future head coach, because it ain't going to Fangio. And
No.
we got our future head coach in place for the next 15 years. So I don't know.
And, I think Nick is on a short lead, and they want to see how this goes with him. And what he was doing in Green Bay. So I don't know. It could be. That's a possibility.
So my take on this is this. I don't know. I mean, you seem pretty confident that this is a Howie hire. I'm not sure about that. I don't know if he is or not. I'm pretty sure Nick had some level of decision on whether or not they were going to go with this guy. But at the end of the day, not a lot. As Doc said, this is not a coveted spot, not a coveted position, because of the volatility of the coaching staff and one or two of the players, right? Key players. I think the rope for Nick, like the leash, is short for Nick. If he starts off on the wrong foot next season, he's out. And a lot of potential candidates, they realized that, and you had some, they did not want the job. They didn't even want to take the interview. And I think some who took the interview after the first, first speaking with the team, they were like, I'm out. I don't want to deal with it. So I don't think the options were as vast as you may think. I think, Sean was probably, and I don't want to diminish him, but only 2 years experience coming into a championship team, right? In terms of like the caliber of players that you have, just 1 year removed from the Super Bowl. So I wouldn't think you would want like a first time play caller who never called plays to take the position on this type of a team. That can't be the go-to for this. I think it's just what they were left with. That being said, I give Nick 6 games next season.
Mm.
I give him 6 games, right? And if they're not looking like a well-oiled machine, like everything is in place and the offense is executing, the defense is doing what they're supposed to do, and you have the proper cohesiveness between all 3 layers, he's out. He's out. And again, all of those candidates knew that, and they were like, I don't want any part of that. You don't want to take a job when you have a inkling that next season you can be out of that job before the season even ends. So Sean Mannion, just for a little bit of background, he was a third string quarterback for the Rams. We drafted him back in 2015. That was the year before we drafted Jared Goff. And he's a smart guy. I listened to a few interviews. He was on Hard Knocks. They put a spotlight on him for a couple of episodes, and he's very competent. He knows the quarterback position, so you do have that. But my concern again is just 2 years experience as a coach, and never calling the plays. That's sketchy to me, man. That's a big roll of the dice for a team where from a personnel standpoint, player wise, you got a championship level team.
Yeah. All I could do is cross my fingers at this point and just roll the dice out there and see what happens, man. Yeah,
I kind of feel like Howie's setting Nick up, man. Howie's like, go with this guy and let's see what happens.
He gave it to you.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know how much more I could take. All right. So in Buffalo, they get rid of Sean McDermott. For me personally, I know Sean McDermott was an Andy Reid disciple, and he was with the Eagles. He was DC and Eagles for a couple of years, and then went to Buffalo and got that position and was there for quite some time. And I don't know. I don't know how sure I was with them, getting rid of Sean McDermott. However, the owner came on and was like, it's the same thing over and over again. It's not his fault. It's not his fault that that people can't catch the ball. You miss field goals. You throw interceptions. It's not his fault. I mean, he putting you he putting you in the position. So anyway, he was the scapegoat for this. And Joe Brady, the OC, takes over as the head coach. And hopefully, I guess what he did was he said, "Look, I'm going to do this different and this different and this different." And I don't know what you guys think. I know Joe Brady is they deem him as a sharp mind when it comes to, the offensive side of the ball. But I don't know if it's going to make that much of a difference. In my opinion, I really think they just needed some other personnel on that team instead of firing the head coach. But I think it went sour at some point with Sean McDermott in the ownership, and that was it. And they decided to let him go. He was escaping.
Joe Brady is a smart guy. I'm going to tell you why he's a smart guy. So the Buffalo Bills are like, hey, we're going to fire our head coach. We need something new. We need something different. Then they elevate the GM to president. All right. The owner comes in there saying, well, the Keon Coleman thing, that was on the coaches. That wasn't the GM's fault. That was on the coaches, right? Hey, and Joe Brady could have been like, yeah, that was on McDermott, man. That's not me. That's a new regime. He shows up, gets elevated to head coach. He's like, yeah, I was on the table stumping for him. I was the one who was saying I wanted Keon Coleman. and I still believe he's going to do well. Smooth the whole thing out.
He did.
Everything nice and calm now,
He
right?
did. He did.
The team got his back now. Keon Coleman's like, oh, someone wants me. Great, right? I have liked Joe Brady since he was the LSU co-offensive coordinator when they was killing people with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, right? And the offense he ran with Buffalo the last 2 years is very different than the offense he ran in LSU. So on the offensive side, calling plays, he's good. We just don't know how he is as a head coach. Can he get the whole team to buy in? And then can he get the defense to do what the defense needs to help that offense out? Because that offense has put up 20 something, 30 points and lost several games. So
Right.
the defense got to play better too. But uh, the offense will be fine. It's just, can he rally the troops and make that team play as a team? And can that defense get sorted, which was supposed to be what McDermott was supposed to do, right? Can that defense get sorted out to make Buffalo a legitimate Super Bowl contender? So,
Yeah, I think what's going to, I think one of the point of emphasis for Joe Brady um, is what he does with his coaching staff, how he's going to put that together. When you have young coaches coming in who've never been a head coach before, particularly on the offensive side, they're offensive masterminds. Sean McVay did this. Uh, Ben Johnson just did this, right? They bring in uh, their coordinators who have had head coaching experience, right? Ben Johnson, he hired Dennis Allen as his head coach. I'm sorry, as his defensive coordinator, who was just removed as a head coach for the Saints the year before. Sean McVay, he had Wade Phillips as his defensive coordinator, who, of course, had an abundance of years as a head coach, right? So I think he's definitely going to need someone on his staff who has that experience as a head coach to help him transition into being a head coach himself. Because now you have to your focus now has to be more team oriented, and we all know this, than just focusing on that one unit. But you're still going to be primarily looking at that one unit because that's your forte. I'm pretty sure he's still going to be calling the plays. But now, how do you layer that in at game time so that you can, when the defense is on the field, still be attuned to what's happening, calling the timeouts, making sure the tempo is right, making sure that everything is running as smooth as they need to be, talking to the refs, all of that stuff, just managing the actual game itself. So he's going to need to have a competent offensive coordinator with a lot of experience at that head coaching position. If he does that, I think he has a good shot at success. Um, but outside of that, yeah, he's a sharp guy. He's a sharp guy. His press conference, he got a little bit emotional as well when he saw, some of the team came to support him. But the jury's going to be out, man. I really don't know how this is going to turn out. I really don't know if it's going to be that much better than what it was, because the devil is in the details, right? When it comes time to call that timeout when you need to call it, or to, you know, push for the team to, score, or make a run or drive with 2 minutes left at the end of the first half, or kneel on the ball or soak up some time. Like, you have to understand how your team is playing, how the defense is responding based on their time on the field, and being able to just manage the whole game and not mess everything up. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's a tall order, but he's gonna need a lot of help on that coaching staff.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So in Cleveland, a lot of people, really didn't want this job. There's a lot of people who they're like, no, no, don't want it. I'm withdrawing my name from it. You could take a couple things. You could take a couple things from this, with withdrawing their name from this role. It could have been like, maybe the Browns didn't want them, man. And they just, they withdraw it. So anyway, Todd Monken is there in Cleveland, and you know he has a tall order. I want to see if he's going to put in what he's going to do at quarterback. He has a Pro Bowler and he also has another QB at there, your second year QB. Is he going? Where are they picking in the draft? Where's Cleveland picking in the draft? You
Cleveland.
know, because I don't know where they are picking in the draft because um it would be good to see because you know
6.
okay, so they're number 6. So
Mm-hmm.
they I don't know. I don't know from a quarterback standpoint if they're gonna pick a quarterback, with Shador and Dylan Gabriel there. So we'll see what Todd Monken does in Cleveland, man. That's a tough place to play. But what's the expectation? It's Cleveland. I mean, so what really can you expect there with the Browns?
Three different coaching candidates withdrew their name from this job, right?
Yeah.
He's 60, so he's one of the older guys to get a first-time head coaching job. His head coaching experience was in college at Southern Miss, and I think it was sub 500. He got 9-5 the last year out of 3 years, but sub 500 over the course of the 3 years that he was there. I think he's a good offensive coordinator. I think he used Lamar Jackson fairly well. When they got Derrick Henry, it took him 2 games to realize you can't run Derrick Henry out of the shotgun. They put him in the eye. He was effective again. So I think he'll adapt to what he has. I think he's a bit gruff slash rough around the edges. I think there's a personality issue, which is part of why it's taken him this long to be a head coach. Just like it took a long time for Mike Zimmer to get a head coaching job. Really good at what you do, but just not the best with people. Don't have just not the people skills. I think that being said, you may need someone who's gruff and direct in Cleveland because being flowery ain't gonna make it in Cleveland. I don't know if he has enough to overcome the GM and the history and the owner and all that stuff that goes with Cleveland. But I'm happy for him. He finally gets a head coaching job. I don't know how long it's going to last. Usually, these older coaches, if they don't do well, they don't last long. But we'll see how things go.
Yeah.
So, and one quick, he was smart enough to try do his best to keep the DC, who has that defense reckon with Miles Garrett. So
Yeah.
at least he can come in and
Yeah.
mess that up. So I give him
You
credit. For that.
talking about you talking about Jim Schwartz, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And Jim doesn't want to
yeah.
be there. He does not want to be there, right? I will be surprised if they actually do retain him. I know he's under contract, but he wanted that head coach position,
Yep.
and he's from all accounts that he's livid that he didn't get it. Well, I won't say like he's disappointed, highly disappointed that he didn't get it. So I'm not sure if he's gonna actually stay there. Todd Monken has actually been with the Cleveland Browns before as an offensive coordinator back in 2019. And just to give him a little bit of, more looking at his accolades and his resume, he was the offensive coordinator for the Georgia Bulldogs 2020 to 2022, winning 2 national championships right there. So he has some chops, right? Albeit that was at the collegiate level, but that offense was humming during that time. But fast forward now, in the pros, he's had the benefit of working with a stellar quarterback in Lamar Jackson. Those MVPs were, I think at least one was with Monken. But it still seems like an underwhelming hire, right? Not a lot of excitement. It's not a lot of pizzazz with it. As Doc said, he's 60, first-time head coach. One has to wonder why did it take so long for him to get a head coaching position. He's probably interviewed a number of times, and why was he passed over in the past, right? I just don't see this being that much better than Jim Harbaugh. That's the part about all this that has me a little bit worried, right? You got rid of Jim Harbaugh. You want to go in another direction. I'm sorry.
But yeah,
I'm
you
sorry.
with the Browns.
Yeah. My bad. I'm thinking Ravens.
Yeah.
No, I don't see how this is much better than Stefanski, is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Stefanski, he was also an offensive guy. Okay, and I don't know if if Monken resume wise has is that much better than Stefanski. Now, do you feel like he can come in and command, have better command of the team? Maybe, maybe he just works. He may work better with the GM because it was speculated that Stefanski and the general manager they weren't seeing eye to eye for a number of years. So that might be a part of this as well. But this is another one where the jury's going to be out until we actually see what happens. First time head coach. He's probably going to need a lot of help on with his coaching staff. If they can retain Jim Schwartz, then I think that's going to be a big bonus. If they lose him,
Yeah.
they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
They're going to be in trouble because that defense was a championship level defense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I wish we would have got him in Philly for OT.
Yeah.
We got two old dudes there. That's what I need right now. But anyway, so Lee, you mentioned the Ravens. Jesse Minter, takes over the job for John Harbaugh and in Baltimore. And I don't know that much about Jesse Minter. So if you guys do, I'm just gonna turn that over to you guys. I really don't know that much about him, so I'm gonna let y'all tee off on that one.
I know he was the Chargers defensive coordinator. I think for the last couple of years. I think that defense was good. I don't think it was exceptional. It wasn't bad. Just it was good defense. Um, I'm not. I don't think it's an exciting hire. I don't think it's a horrible hire. I know folks were excited about Jesse Minter being a head coaching candidate, but I'm not sure. At least the last couple of years, if that defense justifies all that the kind of praise and adulation. But I'll let Lee talk about it more. So
Oh, thanks a lot, Doc. Well, I mean, I know him from his time with Michigan, right? So he was actually with Michigan as well. The is particularly the year that we won the national championship. He follows Jim Harbaugh to the LA Chargers and was the defensive coordinator there. The defense has always been solid. Like he's called he's always had a pretty good solid uh, you know defense. Defense has always been pretty disciplined. Um, but yeah, to Doc's point, I don't know much about him from a personality standpoint, and and how that would kind of translate to him being a head coach, right? So, and I know I sound like a broken record. Staff, the staff is going to be vital, right? For all of these guys, all these first-time head coaches, you got to have a good staff together. Did they did they say if he has an offensive coordinator in mind?
I have not
I don't
found it
know.
as of yet.
No. Okay. I don't
Yeah,
know,
I don't
man.
think so.
Like that because that's going to be the critical part of all this. If I was them, because it doesn't seem as if this guy is getting any interviews as a head coach, I would go after Cliff Kingsbury, right? Because Cliff,
Kingsbury.
he you're right. He left the Commanders. I don't know if he was hoping to get a shot at being a head coach, but again, I'm not here. I'm hearing crickets on that. I would go after him and see if I can get him to be my offensive coordinator with the Ravens. It's an enticing position, right? So unlike with the Eagles situation, I think any offensive coordinator would be chomping at the bit for a chance to coach Lamar Jackson in this offense.
To
Yeah,
Cliff Kingsbury and Lamar Jackson is a scary combination. That'd be
yep,
scary. Yeah.
yeah. That would be dangerous for sure. Um, all right, so we got a couple more here. Let me talk about these head coaches. We got in Pittsburgh, Mike McCarthy takes over in Pittsburgh for Mike Tomlin. I don't know what they thinking. What you think you're gonna get with Mike McCarthy? That don't make any sense. None whatsoever. And guess what? The Pittsburgh Steelers do not fire head coaches. So he gonna be there for 10 years. 10 to 12 years, you're going to have Mike McCarthy in Pittsburgh. Boy, look at, I know the Pittsburgh Steelers fans, y'all can be happy. Y'all can be happy. I want to hear from some Pittsburgh Steelers fans, man, because there's no way y'all could be happy with this hire. But guess what? You get what you get because y'all was out there saying Mike Tomlin got to go. Mike Tomlin got to go. We tired of this. We tired of going to the playoffs and beating the first round. We tired of winning 9 games, winning 10 games. Okay, guess what you're gonna win now? 2 or 3. I'd be surprised, especially if you bring back Old Man. He already said he would love to have Old Man come back. So guess what? Y'all gonna get what y'all gonna get, man. Pittsburgh, this is doomsday for y'all. If I see Pittsburgh doing anything in the next 5 years, that's surprising. Mike McCarthy, I don't know what they was thinking with this hire. You could have hired so many other quarterbacks, and I think this would have been, head coaches, and this would have been a place where you gotta. This is solid. You know your job is gonna be solid in Pittsburgh. I would have had my agent calling them like every day, to try and get an interview there. But they went with Mike McCarthy, man. I'm sorry, Pittsburgh Steelers fans.
If you ask Green Bay Packers fans what they think of Mike McCarthy, they think for as long as he was there, he underachieved. Having one of the greatest quarterbacks ever play, they went to the show twice, won once. And it petered out the last few years. You ask Dallas Cowboys fans, they'd be like, yeah, we were 8-8, 9-7. We couldn't do anything in the playoffs. We weren't disciplined, losing playoff games, one and done.
And he lied on that interview.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well,
he did.
Forget just the line on the interview talking about he watched all the Dallas Cowboys tapes of the previous year, and then at the press, I was like, yeah, I didn't really watch all them tapes. All right, I still kept his job. I don't know whose soul, his kid's soul, he sold to the devil. I don't know how this man is able to coach the Green Bay Packers, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Wow.
Like the blue bloods of the NFL. I don't know how he
storied franchises. Yeah.
I don't know how he pulled that off. Supposedly he got hired because he develops quarterbacks.
You don't.
I don't think he developed Alex. Alex Smith was nice on TV, talking very nicely about him. I don't think he developed Alex Smith when they was coaching together. I don't think he developed Aaron Rodgers. That's a stretch at best. And Dak was doing pretty good when he came along to Dallas, but somehow he has a reputation as a quarterback whisperer / a quarterback developer. And so the plan is, if they don't get Aaron Rodgers, or Aaron comes back for another year or two and then retires, the Pittsburgh Steelers franchise is set because they have a quarterback developer in place as head coach. I'm going to leave it at that.
Boy, if Aaron Rodgers played 2 more years, I can't imagine. I can't imagine it. This is another underwhelming hire, man. I don't understand the logic other than maybe he's a stopgap coach, because it just goes against what the Steelers typically do.
Yep.
They normally hire an up and coming young coach, and that coach, he coaches for 10 plus, 15 plus, right, years. This is the antithesis of all of that. Like, this is the complete opposite. I know for a fact, well, not for a fact, but it was widely reported that Pittsburgh really wanted Marcus Freeman out of Notre Dame. They really wanted him for the coach. And I don't know what the particulars were, why it didn't, flesh out, but Marcus decided to say, I'm gonna stay with Notre Dame. Could have been a contractual thing that he wanted to uphold. I don't know. But I kind of wonder if there's some sort of a, hey, okay, well, when you're ready, this is going to be here for you. Until then, we're just going to go with this guy, right? This complete conspiracy theory right now,
I got
right?
you.
But it's the
Yeah.
only thing that I can get to make sense because this makes no sense as it is. Because this isn't what Steelers do. They don't do this. And then the explanation is also nonsensical. Okay, so I'm pretty sure they still want Marcus Freeman, and I'm pretty sure they're still talking or wanting to communicate with him, and it's gonna be a year after year thing, and they're not gonna fire McCarthy. McCarthy is gonna, yeah, I'm gonna, I'm calling quits. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But outside of that, man, you talk about him and Old Man. You know, him and Old Man, they go way back.
They go way
And
back.
if Old Man comes back, it'll probably be for just 1 year. But I don't. He has 1 year left on the contract, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So that might be the case. I don't see him playing 2 years. And then when it comes to like the quarterback, if they stink it up this up and coming season, which everybody I think predicts it's going to happen, they'll be in line for a quarterback in 2027.
Yeah.
Right. And then Marcus Freeman is going to jump in.
Yeah.
Could you imagine the Pittsburgh Steelers with a 4-13 record, 5-12?
That's what the fans wanted. They said they
Yeah,
were
that's what they
tired of
wanted.
making it to the playoffs.
Tired.
They were
Tired.
tired of making it to the playoffs. They don't want
Yeah.
that no more.
Don't want that. Don't want that. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll talk. We'll see what happens and when that rolls around. But talking about retreads, you got in Kansas City, you got Eric Bieniemy is back. He's back. You know, he's back with Kansas City.
Yep.
They said, look, you know, we're tired of playing around. We need to bring our OC back, so we could get back to the Super Bowl. You know, and rekindle things. You know, this they didn't like watching all this playoffs and seeing New England get back to the Super Bowl and all that. So they was like, you know what, we tired of this. Let's bring Bieniemy back. You know, and Andy Reid did mention, he said Bieniemy just handles the players different. He's straight up. He's gonna get in your face, and that's what Andy Reid say he need, right? So that's what he's gonna do back in KC again.
It's called discipline and accountability.
Yeah, you're right.
That's what he brings. That's what he
Yeah.
brings. And you saw that when he left, there was a slow attrition on that offense. It was gradual. It wasn't drastic, but it gradually, the attention to detail, the fine-tunedness of the offense, it just slowly was deteriorating. They needed Bieniemy, and a lot of people thought that Bieniemy was just there riding the coattails of Andy Reid. Obviously, that's not the case. For them to have to bring him back, is Matt Nagy still there?
Well, there's no. Andy Reid is stumping for him to get a head coaching gig.
Get a head
again.
coaching. Yes.
So
Yeah.
basically, he got fired.
Yes.
Yeah.
Release.
Yeah.
Let
He
go.
got- yeah.
And mind
Yeah.
you, this
Or demoted.
this was
Right.
another OC who left
Yeah.
to become head coach. Didn't do much. Bieniemy never got to be head coach.
Right.
Comes back to be OC again, and the offense sputters out. And Andy Reid, the consummate gentleman and professional, is saying Nagy needs to get another head coaching job, because we can't get another OC job, because if you can't make the offense run with Kansas City,
Right.
what offense you going to make run?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Now
Exactly.
Bieniemy is the bad cop to the Andy
Yeah.
Reid good cop, and they
Absolutely.
work well together. I would have
Yeah.
loved to have seen Bieniemy succeed or fail as a head coach in the NFL. It never happened.
Yeah.
But for that team and that head coach, he's going to be a really good OC.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
what that team needs.
Yeah. He
What
fits
I'm
there.
hoping. No, go ahead, Lynx.
No. I was just gonna say he fits there just like how McDaniel fit in New England.
Yeah.
As the OC, it just
Yeah.
fits. Yeah.
It fits.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for Bieniemy, because we know Andy Reid. He's not long for being staying as a head coach. I think he's going to be retiring pretty soon, in the next several years. Right. I mean, how old is he?
I mean, the 60s.
Andy is, I think, 8.
How old is Andy Reid?
Andy might be like
67.
60.
Huh?
67.
Yeah, man. Like Andy. Yeah,
Let me stop.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But That's. But
The
no, I don't think he's going to be
a three.
coaching for that much longer.
Yeah.
And I could see a succession plan being put in place for Bieniemy to take over when Andy Reid hangs it up.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? With this real quick, and Bieniemy, I think that what I really want to see is the person who was the most lazy on the Kansas City team, Travis Kelsey. I want to see if he is held accountable. Are you going to be held accountable now, Travis Kelsey, that Eric Bieniemy? Because there's a good point. When Eric Bieniemy left, he started the downward trajectory for
Yeah.
Travis Kelsey was going down. That accountability was out the window. I heard he was practicing when he want to practice, jogging, whatever. Okay, let's see if it really if Bieniemy, the stardom of Travis Kelsey, and his wife, I'm not gonna call her name, is going to hold him accountable to see if this one last year that he got, because we know he coming back. This one last year, he is going to perform better than he did. Look, and guess what? I think he did lead the league as a tight end in receiving yards. I want to say that. I'm not sure,
Who
but I think he did as a tight end, Travis Kelsey.
this
Yeah.
past season?
This past season, I think he led the league, which was shocking to me when I think I saw that.
I don't.
But
know, man.
anyway,
I don't believe that.
we need to double check on that
Yeah,
because
Doc, check that out, Doc. I don't know.
let's-
I don't
let's-
think so.
because that I think he did, but
Trey
hold on,
McBride.
Trey
Kelsey was
McBride?
fourth.
Kelsey was fourth. Okay, all
Yeah.
right, so he was still
Which-
top five.
I'm
Which is
shocked he
still
was top
amazing.
five. Yeah.
Which is still
That's
amazing.
amazing. Still
Yeah.
top five. So we'll see if Eric Bieniemy could turn that around. That's what I really want to see.
Who
All
were
right,
the
we got
top
a
three?
couple more.
Three, Doc. Who were the top three? I'm just
Trey
curious.
McBride with 1239. Kyle
Right.
Pitts with
That's-
928. Juwan Johnson of the Saints with 889.
Okay.
And then Kelsey at 851.
Got it.
And under him was Tyler Warren for the Colts with 817.
Colts. Okay.
So
Yep. So anyway, so we got a couple more. We got Pet Singh leaving where he left the Cardinals, right? He left the Cardinals and he came over to Detroit Lions to be the OC. Now, okay, we know Lee, you know this division, you know the Cardinals, et cetera, et cetera. I was watching a podcast, and Amon-Ra St. Brown and his brother have a podcast. I don't know if you saw it, but Amon-Ra was on there blasting out the Detroit Lions fans for dissing Pet Singh. What he said was, this is not verbatim, I'm just paraphrasing him. He said pretty much, Detroit Lions fans, I like you, but then I don't like you because you guys don't know. I know Dan Campbell did his research, and Dan Campbell, did everything that he needed to do to get the right OC in there. So y'all need to be quiet because y'all don't really know ball. That's what he said, paraphrasing to the Detroit Lions fans. Then he ended it with, I still love y'all, but y'all don't know ball. That's where he left it. So I don't know. I don't know that much about Pet Singh, but that's what you got, Lee.
Dan Campbell also promoted Joe Martin to be the offensive coordinator last season too, right? The same offensive coordinator that he then demoted and start taking play calling duties away from him in the middle of the season, right? The same offensive coordinator that by the end of the season he fired, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Hey, I'm just going off of what
Okay.
Amon-Ra was saying, man.
All right, then we'll see. We'll see. All I know is you can only go by what your resume show, right?
Yeah.
And look at that. Look at the Arizona offense. That offense didn't look too formidable last season. And it's not as if they didn't have some semblance of competency at the quarterback position,
Right.
right? Because even though Murray was out, who was the backup, Doc? He
Brissett.
came in and
Jacoby.
Brissett. Right, Jacoby came in, and I mean, look, Jacoby played well.
Yeah,
Jacoby
Yeah.
played well. He put up some good stats.
yeah.
Um, he put up some good stats. The running backs, they don't really have a lot of talent at the running back position in Arizona. But what I still can't understand for the life of me is why they couldn't get Marvin Harrison Jr. going. Like they invested a high draft pick in this guy. He's out of, from Ohio State. He's highly talented, comes from really good stock, has great pedigree, and they just didn't know how to get him the ball or get him activated in that offense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know how this is going to play out. Amon Ra is going to stick up for his team. I get it. Uh, I don't. I wouldn't go at the look that Lions fan base. They are as committed and dedicated as
Yeah,
any.
they loyal. Yeah.
As any. They are loyal.
Yeah.
You don't. Amon Ra don't need to be going after them.
No.
He don't need to be
No.
going after them. What he needs to do is hear what they're saying, understand their angst and their concern, right? And just say, hey, just give them a chance. Let's wait and see.
Yeah.
But don't blab talk
Yeah.
about they don't know ball, right? Let's see how this plays out. But all I know is based on what we have seen, it's nothing to be excited about.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Go ahead, Doc.
No, I'm trying to put a really good spin on it, it's hard. Like, I mean, the offense did its best when they lost Kyler Murray. Brissett was throwing for like 300 yards a game, but they was losing games, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those games weren't close, right? Um, I, I think the positive spin is in Detroit he will have much more weapons to play with than he had in Arizona.
Yeah.
But the fact that he couldn't get the number two target the ball, and it seemed to be all Trey McBride, I don't know, right? So yeah, so that's the thing we're gonna have to see. But
Yeah.
we'll see what happens in Detroit. To Lee's point, all the research that was done last year didn't do much. So, you know, you you could put faith in the head coach making the right decision. Wasn't the best decision based on results last year. So we'll see what happens this year.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we gonna wrap it up real quick with the Robert Sala in Tennessee, man. Lee, I know you've been petitioning for Robert Sala to get his head coaching job all season, man. And so he finally got his job. He's there in Tennessee, got him a quarterback. And that's about all he got, but even with him not having anything, I promise you that defense is going to be looking good. They
Yes.
just going to come out of they're going to come out of nowhere. That defense is going to come out of nowhere, and they're going to be looking good. And I think Tennessee. I'm not saying they're going to be a playoff team, but they're going to be they're going to win some games next season. I could see. I'm going to right now. I'm going to predict right now. This is early, but I'm going to predict Tennessee win at least 7 games. I think they're gonna make a big leap, a big jump. And I think Robert Sala is gonna have these boys ready to roll, man. And in a couple years, they are going to be right there in the hunt. I believe in Robert Sala, and so I think he's an amazing coach. He couldn't get over the New York, whatever they got in New York with the Jets. I don't think anybody could get over that. But anyway, Robert Sala, congratulations, man. He got the job. I'm looking forward to them in Tennessee.
You know, first off, I know as a Rams fan, Lee is excited that Robert Sala is no longer in his division. I am happy for Robert Sala. I think he got a bad break with the Jets,
Yep.
with meddlesome ownership and them just not being able to get an offense going. The defense was solid when he was the DC, when he was the head coach there. Goes back to San Fran. The defense was solid. They had injuries last year. The defense was still solid.
Yep.
So Tennessee's defense is going to be solid. They got Brian Dayball as the OC, which is a really good pickup. I think Dayball's going to be at least solid, if not really good as an OC. You have a quarterback that they think is the quarterback of the future with Cam Ward. So Tennessee should end up being a respectable team in a year or two. They're just now in a division that's got the Colts and the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans, which is now becoming a really tough division. So they have to step their game up a lot. But I do like the hire.
I think it's a great hire. I mean, and all jokes aside, yes, I am happy he's away from the 49ers. I mean, look, I don't want him there. He's so good at putting that defense and getting them to play, and it's just a pain, right, for the Rams to get over that when he's the defensive coordinator. So I'm glad he's gone. But that aside, I think it's a great hire. Tennessee they're going to actually let him do his job. Okay, they're going to let him do his job. They're not going to meddle. He's going to be able to actually put his fingerprint on that team. And once he does that, I mean, he has Daboll as his offensive coordinator. He has Cam Ward, who is a phenomenal quarterback, and he showed a lot last year with nothing. All they got to do now is give him weapons,
Yep.
put a team around him, and we can see one of the biggest jumps that we've seen in a long time for an NFL franchise. So I think the sky's the limit. He came in talking about how, the description of how he wants his team to play fast and violent. And he said that he wasn't smiling, he wasn't joking, he was, stone faced. And I think that's exactly how they're going to play. So that AFC South division, I think it's still for the taking. They can come right in there and they can easily win that division if they have all the right pieces in place come next season with their quarterback like Cam Ward and someone competent at the head coaching position like Robert Saleh.
Yeah, we've seen it all this. We've seen it this season. We've seen it with Ben Johnson making a turnaround with the team. That was struggling. You got the quarterback, and your defense is responding, and you get your offense clicking, and everybody believing. So it could happen quickly. Yeah, man. Looking forward to it.
Fourth place schedule.
Yep.
That's true.
Exactly.
That's true.
Exactly. Yep.
So it could happen, man. All right, fellas. So yeah, man, we we'll jump back on again. But
this weekend
talking about these coaches. Yeah, this weekend we'll jump back on. It's good talking about these coaches and really breaking these down a little bit. So looking forward to this weekend. We'll jump back on again, man.
All right, guys.
All right, bro.
Later.
Later.